The Territory Era, 1940s to 1980s, before WWE conquered the globe, professional wrestling was a patchwork of territories across the United States and beyond. The National Wrestling Alliance, or NWA, acted as a governing body, with promoters agreeing not to invade each other's regions. A fan in Texas might see the Von Erichs, while fans in Georgia cheered for Dusty Rhodes. In New York, Bruno Sammartino sold out Madison Square Garden as the beloved champion. This era was ruled by kayfabe, the ironclad rule that wrestling was presented as a legitimate sport. Heels, or villains, and babyfaces, or heroes, never broke character in public. Rivalries felt real because the illusion was never broken. Legends like Harley Race, Ric Flair, and Dusty Rhodes thrived, traveling between territories to spread their fame. Championships meant prestige, and matches were gritty, believable struggles rather than flashy spectacles. But the system had cracks. Television was uniting the country, and one man, Vince McMahon Jr., saw an opportunity. Instead of respecting territory lines, he envisioned wrestling as a national product. By the early 1980s, McMahon began signing away talent from rival promotions, setting the stage for WWE's global takeover. The Territory Era ended, and the modern age of wrestling was born.
The New Generation Era, 1993 to 1997. As Hulk Hogan and other 80s stars faded, WWE needed fresh faces. The early 1990s were tough, facing competition from WCW and scandals like the steroid trial. Vince McMahon leaned on a new generation of smaller, more athletic wrestlers. This era was headlined by stars like Bret Hart, the Hitman, Shawn Michaels, Diesel, Kevin Nash, and Razor Ramon, Scott Hall. The matches became more technical, faster, and focused on in-ring ability rather than just spectacle. Storylines, however, were often cartoonish, with gimmicks like a wrestling clown, Doink, a tax collector, IRS, and even a garbage man, Duke the Dumpster Druce. While kids loved them, older fans began turning to WCW's Monday Night Nitro, which offered a more realistic product. Still, the new generation produced classics like the Iron Man match between Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 12. It also built the foundation for the shift toward more mature storytelling. By the mid-90s, with WCW launching the NWO and stealing WWF stars, WWE was losing the war. But in the shadows, a new, rebellious energy was building, one that would explode into the Attitude Era. The Attitude Era, 1997 to 2002. The Attitude Era was WWE's most explosive, rebellious, and culturally impactful era. Born out of desperation during the Monday Night Wars against WCW, WWE abandoned kid-friendly gimmicks and embraced mature, edgy content. The era was defined by chaos, profanity, violence, shocking storylines, and larger-than-life rivalries. Stone Cold Steve Austin became the face of anti-authority rebellion, feuding with Vince McMahon in one of wrestling's greatest storylines. Austin's beer baths, middle fingers, and relentless attitude captured the imagination of fans who wanted to see the boss get what he deserved. Meanwhile, The Rock electrified audiences with his charisma. DX, Triple H, and Shawn Michaels pushed the boundaries of comedy and vulgarity, and Mick Foley risked his body in death-defying matches. The Undertaker added dark, supernatural storylines, while Kane debuted as his monstrous brother. The Attitude Era also created unforgettable moments, like the Montreal Screwjob in 1997, Mankind being thrown off of Hell in a Cell in 1998, and Austin's shocking victories. WWE finally overtook WCW in ratings, eventually buying out its rival in 2001. It was loud, it was controversial, and it was unforgettable. The Attitude Era turned wrestling into mainstream pop culture again, but its over-the-top nature couldn't last forever. The Ruthless Aggression Era, 2002 to 2008, after WWE bought WCW and ECW, they had no competition left. The challenge was now building new stars. Vince McMahon famously declared the dawn of ruthless aggression. This era introduced John Cena, Randy Orton, Brock Lesnar, and Batista, future legends who carried WWE into a new generation. Cena debuted as a fiery underdog before transforming into the face of the company. Lesnar dominated with unmatched power, while Orton and Batista rose through evolution. The brand split separated WWE into Raw and SmackDown, creating unique rosters and rivalries. Matches became more athletic and hard-hitting. Memorable storylines included Eddie Guerrero's underdog championship win, the rise of Edge as the ultimate opportunist, and Shawn Michaels versus Triple H in a legendary feud. Though not as wild as the Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression was rich in wrestling quality. It built the foundation for modern WWE, where new faces finally stepped out of the shadows of Austin and The Rock.
6. The PG Era, 2008 to 2014. By 2008, WWE shifted to a PG rating to appeal to families and corporate sponsors. Blood, swearing, and risque content were gone. Matches were safer, and storylines were more kid-friendly. John Cena became the clear face of the PG era, embodying the never-give-up hero for younger audiences. Stars like Rey Mysterio, Randy Orton, CM Punk, and Sheamus also thrived. The company focused heavily on merchandise and global expansion, running shows worldwide. WrestleMania became more of a spectacle than ever before, with celebrity involvement and blockbuster production. While some fans criticized this era as too soft compared to the Attitude Era, WWE remained hugely profitable. Children loved Cena, while adults debated whether the company had lost its edge. Still, the PG era ensured WWE's survival as a publicly traded, family-friendly entertainment giant. 7. The Reality Era, 2014 to 2016. The reality era was sparked by fans themselves. In 2011, CM Punk's infamous pipe bomb promo shattered kayfabe, openly criticizing WWE's creative direction. It was a wake-up call. Fans rallied behind Daniel Bryan, whose Yes movement culminated in his shocking WrestleMania 30 victory. For the first time, fans' voices were forcing WWE's hand. This era blurred reality and fiction. Storylines often reference real backstage politics. The Shield, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose rose as a dominant faction, and stars like Punk and Bryan proved that underdogs could succeed. Though short-lived, the reality era showed that fans weren't just passive viewers, they were influencers, capable of changing WWE's direction. 8. The New Era, 2016 to 2019. In 2016, WWE launched the New Era with a refreshed brand split. Raw and SmackDown each had unique rosters again, creating new rivalries and storylines. NXT, WWE's developmental brand, was producing stars like Finn Balor, Sasha Banks, Bayley, and Kevin Owens, giving fans high-quality matches. The Women's Revolution transformed the women's division, dropping the Divas label and showcasing legitimate athletes like Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, and Sasha Banks. AJ Styles finally arrived in WWE, proving himself as one of the world's best. Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns cemented their spots as top stars. The new era wasn't as wild as Attitude or as dominant as Ruthless Aggression, but it modernized WWE and appealed to hardcore wrestling fans once again.
9. The Pandemic Thunderdome Era, 2020 to 2021. When COVID-19 shut down live events, WWE faced an unprecedented challenge: wrestling without fans. At first, matches were held in empty arenas,
creating an eerie atmosphere. Then came the Thunderdome, a virtual arena filled with screens of fans watching from home. Pyro, sound effects, and digital production kept the show alive. Wrestlers had to adapt. Drew McIntyre carried WWE as champion, while Roman Reigns reinvented himself as the Tribal Chief, one of the greatest character transformations in wrestling history. Cinematic matches like the Boneyard match, Undertaker vs. AJ Styles, and the Firefly Funhouse, John Cena vs. The Fiend, pushed creativity to new heights. This era was unlike anything before, stripped of crowds but rich in experimentation. 10. The Modern Era / Triple H Era, 2022 to present. In 2022, after Vince McMahon stepped back, Triple H took over creative direction. Fans immediately noticed the difference. Storylines became longer, more consistent, and more respectful of wrestling tradition. Roman Reigns' historic championship reign became the centerpiece, elevating every challenger, including Cody Rhodes, who returned from AEW to chase his family's legacy. Seth Rollins, Gunther, and Bianca Belair also emerged as modern icons. Meanwhile, AEW provided real competition, forcing WWE to stay sharp. The women's division grew stronger, NXT evolved, and long-term storytelling made a comeback. This modern era is still being written, but one thing is clear: WWE is once again exciting fans worldwide, blending history with innovation.